aligned with God.
What's going on, AWG family? We're back with another video. Hello. We're going to be doing another reaction today. We're going to be doing a reaction to 4 steps to going all in for God. So I wanted to listen to this reaction. I was kind of strolling through shorts and I seen a small couple of them and I wanted to react with y'all. So let's get to it.
Yeah, we're gonna get into it. It's a little late, so I'm not gonna lie. We both have to. Well, no, he gotta go to work tomorrow. I don't.
I'm a slave.
For Amazon. But all right, we're gonna jump right into it. I have not seen this video before, so yeah. I hope y'all peep the background. Yeah, I don't know what you're pointing at because
We got some AWG cologne.
Here we go. No, we don't. All right, but let's hop right into it.
Should be good. Yeah, you could. Well, we're gonna go full screen.
That's fair.
All in for God. If you're wanting to give your all to God, this is the video for you. I'm going to share 4 steps on how to go all in for God. All 4 steps are given to us from Jesus in Revelation 3:14 through 20. When we look at these verses, Jesus is talking about a church in Laodicea that was not all in. They were lukewarm. In verses 14 through 16, he says, "You are neither hot nor cold." This church in Laodicea, they lived in between 2 places, Hierapolis and Colossae. Hierapolis had hot springs, Colossae had cold springs. And when the water supply in Laodicea would go out, they would have to pump in water from these 2 places. As they did that, what would happen is they would get this big calcium buildup in the pipes, and the water that was lukewarm was actually toxic. Jesus isn't saying that he hates lukewarm water, that he never drank room temperature water. What he's saying is, you, church in Laodicea, who I'm talking to, who I'm writing to, you of all people know what it means to be lukewarm, because the lukewarm water that you're used to tasting, you spit it out of your mouth because you know it's toxic from that calcium buildup. He's calling them out of a life of toxicity. Lukewarm Christianity is toxic for the church. People who are on the fence, indecisive, are toxic in the church. They serve the world, they serve God, they serve money, they serve Jesus. They're on the fence. Then he tells us 4 steps out of lukewarm Christianity. He shows us 4 steps on how to be all in for God. Number 1 is wait.
Well, I mean, I knew kind of about the lukewarmness, or the lukewarm river, or the river that they were talking about.
Yeah.
But I didn't know it that into depth. And it's crazy how much context we're able to gather from just reading the Bible.
Yeah, no, I never saw that. I never pictured it like that, but it's actually kind of crazy because he's just talking. I never realized that. I thought he was just talking about lukewarm whenever he's spitting it out of your mouth or whatever the case may be, that you're just being lukewarm.
Yeah,
but I didn't know that he was like speaking because they directly knew what lukewarm was, which is kind of like crazy when you think about it, because like I never really thought about the word lukewarm in general. I just thought that like lukewarm Christian was just like a term that we just kind of came up with. But I remember hearing like lukewarm water, and I was like, I didn't really know what that meant.
I just meant warm water.
Yeah, but like, is it? I guess it's like room temperature water.
It's in between. So
yeah, like
it's in between cold and
hot, warm.
But warm and cold. Between cold and hot is warm.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
Yeah. So like, but I never really knew what it was referring to. So that's now like seeing that lukewarm really just means like I always thought that was a fake Christian, but I guess it's really talking to Christians that are kind of have one foot in, one foot out.
Right.
Not really talking about like, yeah, you're fake. It's just like, yeah, I love God. I love God, but
I also love these
other things. But I love who God is. I love who Jesus is, and I'm thankful that Jesus saved me. But I'm also loving these things. So which makes sense. I can understand how somebody could be on the fence with that.
And also the fact that a lot of the things that we learn and understand from the Bible still revolve around like present tense.
Yeah.
But also the fact that him calling someone lukewarm back then also stands the term now.
do you mean by that?
So like him doing that, he also knew that that would also show that understanding in our time. So like back in the day, he was calling like they were explaining lukewarmness, or he was telling this area, this church, that they were lukewarm.
Yeah.
And even now, we still have that term being used, like you're lukewarm, like
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, which is, I mean, makes sense.
And
But
it's
that's crazy.
that's like saying cap at 50.
Could you imagine, like, if the word cap is still being said? Like, no, imagine like past our kids' generation, and they're like cap. I'd be like, yo, we don't know nothing about that.
What are you talking about?
All right, so we're gonna go into wake.
It says in verse 17, "For you say, I am rich, I have prospered, I need nothing, not realizing that you are wretched, poor, blind, and naked." To wake is to realize you've been sleeping, to realize you're not as rich or as prosperous or as perfect as you think you are. The people in Laodicea, they were thinking that they are righteous in and of themselves. They've done a lot of good things. They're a pretty good person. You know, I'm not as bad as so-and-so or the church down the block. They had gotten to the point where they stopped realizing that they need God for their righteousness. They needed to wake up. Number 2 is take.
Needed to wake up. Needed to wake up.
From my perspective, that kind of is like, you know, when you first come to terms with like not having anything in the world.
Yeah.
Like you come to terms where it's like nothing that I try to obtain will ever become more valuable than the Lord. I think that's what he means by wake up. Like no amount of money, no amount of like power or access that I have, like I need to wake up to reality. Like none of this matters.
What that showed me is like, yeah, it kind of showed me that, but it also showed me that you need to really think like to yourself that, hey, you're not a good person. Yeah. Like, and the reason why I say that is, yes, I know a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, no, I'm a good person. But if you think to yourself, if you're an actual, what are the standards of good that you're approaching yourself to, right? Like, what is God's standard of good, and then your standard of good? You may think that you're a good person, but in reality, in God's perfect eyes, or in God's provision, God loves you as you are, but in God's perfect position, in a perfect world, or whatever the case may be, you are not a good person because you go and you sin in every single day, right? We lie, like people lie every single day. People have sex before marriage every single day. And you will go home and call yourself a good person when in reality, and when you're doing stuff like that, you're not a good person. But that's not to say that I'm a good person. In God's eyes, I'm not a good person. I'm in the hindsight of the scale that we're talking about. God knows that God loves us, and he loves us because we were created in the image of him. Sin messed that up for us, but he still loves us, and that's why he gives us grace, and that's why he gave us Jesus, because he knew that whenever sin came into the world, that we would no longer be able to be these good, perfect beings, because that's what sin does. Sin destroys, and it's evil, right? And whenever, like, we do those things, you know, that separates us and pushes us away from God, and we do those things all the time. So in reality, nobody's a good person, and that's why you always need Jesus, because if you could make it to a specific point to where you're good enough, you wouldn't need God anymore, right? So that's something that you want to steer away from, because that's what a lot of rich people do. That's what a lot of rich people, like, they'll start at the bottom, right? They'll be super duper poor, right? And then when they get rich, they kind of forget where they came from. We've all seen this. We've all seen rich people forget where they came from. Rich people are always talking like, they're like, oh yeah, I did this myself. I'm a self-made millionaire. Da, 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 da. You didn't really do that all by yourself, you know. Like there's probably people that helped you, banks help you get loans, da, 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 all this type of stuff. Everything just ended up adding at the right moment, or whatever the case may be. So you're not really self-made if you didn't make literally every single dime by yourself, you know. So
yeah, I think that's good, because like the first kind of evidence that I kind of understood about going to God is that I'm not a perfect person. I used to think I'm a better person than most people because I try to think from other people's perspective and treat people how I would want to be treated. But not knowing that I've lied, I've stealed, I've looked at a woman in lust, I've looked at a man or looked at a woman in anger and thought very bad things.
I thought that was gonna go crazy.
I was
like,
thinking
what?
about somebody, not anything else. But to say it's like most people think that they're good people.
Yeah.
Most people think that they're on their own morality when they don't understand, when they put the perspective of the Lord into it. They're like, oh, I've done this, and this. They realize that they're not that good of a person. They realize that you don't got to be a perfect person. And it's not that Jesus realized that or God realized that we can't, or we didn't realize that we can't be perfect. We were never able to be perfect. I asked, why am I blinking on his name right now? Cliff and his son a question about Adam and Eve, and this is back when God was in heaven, Lucifer was in heaven, and all those things. And I asked him basically, was Adam and Eve a test? Because from my perspective, I think of everything kind of logically. So back when the angels were in heaven, the angels had free will just like everybody else. Lucifer used that free will to do what he wanted. He realized that with him giving people free will that they could rebel against him. So he came and allowed Lucifer to tempt Adam to see what humans would do with free will and how we would react on earth with that free will. So when we come down to earth and we're going through things, I don't think that it is God. Like, I think everybody goes through things for a reason. And I think God uses those certain reasons for you. Like, when you said nobody does anything by themselves, I believe that God gives certain people riches because that's their thing. Like, that's what they're supposed to learn on earth to help more people grow and come to Christ. Like, I have a problem with smoking weed. My problem is to learn how to stop smoking weed so I can help other people stop smoking weed, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. It's like yeah, I definitely see.
Like, everybody has their vice and their problem that they're dealing with, and they're supposed to go through those things to help other people grow closer to Christ.
Yeah, and there's certain people, pastors. Like, if I'm being completely honest, I've never heard a pastor that's come from like a perfect life.
No,
I've never but I don't think that's a coincidence, and I don't think that's a lot of people say, oh yeah, pastors are just agreeing to make this up and etc. I don't think that that's true. I just think that to be a pastor, you have to understand everything. I think that you just need to understand all of those things.
Or not understand everything, but have
like,
the understanding
that's what I'm saying.
that
like,
you don't know everything.
Having
comes from the Lord.
It's like Job, right? Whenever Job had asked for what's it called, like why is this happening or whatever, and then God like basically showed him, and Job couldn't even understand it after God showed him. Right. You know, he can't like
imagine he showed him how many people were going to like come to Christ because of his story.
Yeah.
What if he showed him that? And he's like,
I don't know what's going on.
I don't even. Who are these people?
Who are these people? Exactly. Like,
there's a phone. What's that?
Literally. Like he showed him when he showed him all of these things. Job had no understanding of what it was, and I think that it's the same way with us. Now, do I think that humans add on to things that God actually isn't testing you? Yes, because I think that God sends you tests, but there's certain things that our free will allows us to get our own trouble into, and when we get into our own trouble, we like to try and solve that ourselves, and we don't run to God. Even though it wasn't a part of God's original plan, God can make anything work as long as you come to him. So we're going to keep moving.
Look at verse 18. It says, I counsel you to buy from me gold refined by the fire, so that you may be rich, in white garments, so that you may clothe yourself, and the shame of your nakedness may not be seen. He's saying, buy from me your righteousness. He's saying, take from me. Jesus is saying, take from me my righteousness, because you don't have righteousness of your own. Take from me. To take means to trust in, to believe. When you go to a store, you go inside the store and you buy that item and you take it with you, knowing that I needed this item. This item's going to help me. I believe it's going to help me. That's why you're taking it with you. To go to Christ is to say, God, I need your righteousness. Help me to take it. Number 3 is shake. Look at verse 20. It says, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock." Jesus is saying he's knocking at the door of this church's heart. It's time for them to open up the door and shake his hand. When someone comes to your house and they knock on your door and you invite them in, one thing that we do is we shake their hands and we look in their eyes and we welcome them into our house. For a lot of us, and for this church in Laodicea, they had left Jesus on the front step for a long time. They had never opened up that door. They had never shook his hand. Looking at Jesus' eyes and shaking his hands, it means welcoming him in to your life. Have you done that?
Yeah, no, I don't think a lot of people understand what that means. A lot of people, like, letting Jesus into your life, it's like the moment of realizing you can't do it. Like, and it's like, it's kind of like the moment of like you're grasping on to everything. Like, I think about, like, let's just say you're about to go bungee jumping. Let's use this as an example, right? And you're way too scared to jump off. Like, you're scared, right? And you don't trust the bungee, right? Jesus is basically like, the bungee is perfectly fine. Trust me, like, the bungee is amazing. You just need to let go. And you're like, no, if I let go, this and 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 this is gonna happen. You're like, all this, everything. I'm gonna fall. The cord's gonna break. I'm gonna hit the ground. I'm gonna die. I don't want to jump. And then the instructor guy, which I'm using as Jesus in this perspective, the instructor guy's like, look, the bungee is fine. Plenty of other people have trusted this bungee, aka plenty of other people have trusted Jesus, and everything has been fine. Just trust me and let me take all of your worries, right? And when it's talking about shaking his hand, you being like, oh my gosh, you know what? I'm letting go, and you drop down from that bungee, right? That's you shaking Jesus' hands, and then whenever you come back up, Jesus is like, see, I told you. I had your back this entire time. All I need is you to trust in me for me to help you. And I'm not going to force myself in. I'm not going to push you from the bungee. I'm going to allow you to take that yourself, because that's giving you free will to choose Jesus and not your own path. Your own path is holding on. Jesus says, let me take all of your worries, because Jesus says all of your worries are nothing compared to me. We can swap. You can have my worries, which is nothing, and I'll take your worries. That's how I look at it.
Just like wasn't it Peter who walked on the water? Or
Yes,
yeah,
Peter.
it was Peter who walked on the water, and as soon as he looked away from Jesus, he started to drown. He started to go into the storm. And as soon as he went and shook Jesus' hand, he pulled him out of the water. And even without looking at him, when he touched his hand, he started to come out of the water. He didn't even realize he wasn't drowning anymore. It comes to a point where like I said, when you realize you can't do nothing without him, when you realize that everything that has gone through or that you've been through, Jesus is right next to you. You basically be like, all right, my boy, let's go.
Yeah,
Take the wheel.
that's definitely how I look at it. But
Cake is crazy though. I'm kind of interested.
Cake is crazy.
I didn't watch this full video. I watched the first two and I was like, okay, let's react to it.
And number 4 is cake. What does Jesus say in verse 20 he will do when we shake his hand, when we open up that door? He says he will come in and dine with us. To eat with someone in this culture, and even in today's culture, is an intimate thing. To look at someone's eyes across the table, to share a meal, to hold a fork in your hand while another person holds a fork in their hand, and to look at each other and to laugh and to talk. And what he's saying is, I don't just want to have a first course meal with you. I don't just want to have a little kind of snack with you. I want to have cake with you. I want to get all the way past the whole meal, all the way to dessert. I want to spend a whole entire evening with you, the evening of eternity. Eating cake with him, dining with him, being intimate with him can be a daily thing, a lifelong thing. So we know we need to wake. We know we need to take.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think what people also get mixed up with Jesus is that it's a relationship also. Like, don't get me wrong, this is not a shot at Catholics or anyone who does tradition, but I believe tradition is a very, very meaningful way, and it is a way to keep your focus on the Lord whenever you are drifting away. And I think that the church and Jesus have set up traditions for that reason, because So like, I'm just saying this because I don't want anyone to think like, oh, you're against Catholics or anything. No, I'm not against them. They're actually really, really cool. But that's why I'm saying that the true reason why the traditions are there are to glorify God, but they also keep your mind focused on God. But with that being said, it's also a relationship. Jesus doesn't want you to just like, he wants you to talk to him about daily things. How was your day, etc., and just express all of these things to him. Maybe your day was stressful. Maybe your day was blessed. Maybe your day felt great. Maybe your day sucked. He wants to be there with you the entire time when you feel all emotions. He doesn't want to just be there when you're feeling great. He doesn't want to just be there when you're feeling bad. He wants to be there for everything. He wants to be there when you're feeling blank, whenever you're not even really feeling anything. He still wants to be there. He wants to experience all of these things with you because he loves you so much. It's kind of like whenever you're in a relationship, right? If, let's just say, money wasn't a problem or anything like that, and all you had was time to spend with your wife or your husband, majority of you would want to do everything with your husband or wife. Why would y'all want to do that? Because the relationship that y'all build,
the intimacy.
And the reason why I say this is because when Jesus says he's coming back, Jesus says he's coming back for his bride. Marriage
for his bride or as the bride?
I think it's for his bride. The way marriage is, what marriage is supposed to represent, marriage is supposed to represent the bond between us and Jesus. That's the whole reason why it's
for
a
his
thing.
bride, the church.
Yeah. That's the whole reason what marriage actually is. Whenever you're married to your wife, all the sacrifice and stuff like that you're supposed to do is to represent Jesus within a marriage. That's what it's for, right? So whenever Jesus comes back, that's why he wants a relationship with you, because if you really don't have that relationship, depart from me, for I do not know you. You know what I'm saying?
Never knew you.
For I never knew you, because you didn't. Why would he force a relationship on you that you didn't want?
Yeah, it's like, and I've heard this perspective a couple times, but it's like, imagine you have a sibling that you're with almost all the time. You go to school with them, you wake up with them, you go to sleep with them, you eat with them, you drive, you do everything with them, but you never had a conversation with them at all. You didn't speak to them, you didn't know what video game they like, you didn't know what food they like, you didn't know nothing. You know if they took a shower, you don't know how their day was, you never spoke to them. That's not going to be a really good
relationship. Like, it's you're gonna, what were you gonna tell your friends?
Or
oh, do you have any?
Spoke to them sometime.
That's what I'm saying. They're gonna be like, do you have any siblings? Yeah, I mean, we don't really talk though. It's the same way. It's the same thing with Jesus. Same thing with Jesus. But
shake and cake. How do we tie it all together? You have to look at what Jesus did. Jesus felt the hot, scorching flames of hell. Jesus felt the cold shoulder from the Father on the cross, so you and I cannot be lukewarm. Jesus submersed himself completely into death and into the wrath of God, so you and I could be all in to God's purpose and God's love for our life. The more you look at Jesus' life and how all in he was to the Father's will, the more it gives you the power to live all in for God. It gives you the power to wake up. It gives you the power to take his righteousness to be your own. It gives you the power to invite him in, to shake his hand, to look into his eyes, and to sit and to have cake with him, be immersed and intimate into a relationship with him. So the question is, and you can answer this in the comments, what is keeping you from going all in? I love you guys so much. Amenpodcast.com to support this ministry. See you in the next one. Go out and be the church.
me?
Nah, Alvin.
I don't know. You weren't looking at me. I thought you were asking the.
No, he already did that.
No, well,
I did it for both of us.
I didn't know. You pointed at that. You didn't point at me.
You're right.
But anyway, what kept me from going all in? Mine was, I don't know. Well, okay. My history is I've always believed in God, but I didn't really. I guess it's also because I didn't really understand going all in. Like, I didn't really understand what the church was. I didn't really understand the history behind Jesus. I didn't understand any of that. I just knew Jesus. I just thought God was real. I didn't really know the connection of Jesus and God. I really just thought it was God. And I wasn't really exposed to enough information And I'm the type of person that I need a lot of information to go in. And when I logically pieced everything together with God, is like, okay, well, there was this one moment when I was getting my internship at the job I work at, and I had asked God, like, hey, like, it's all in your hands now. I feel like I've done everything I possibly can, but now it's in your hands. And literally after I had prayed that, I literally no later, I feel like no later than a couple hours or even 30 minutes, I literally got an email saying that I got the job. It may have been a day, but it felt like it was like 30 minutes to an hour. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But I remember being really, really quick, like right after I said the prayer, right? And I got the internship. I remember like it was yesterday. It was congratulations, and it shut it in a super long paragraph, right? And then I was like, okay, there's something here. And the moment I decided to go all in was my friend Kinsey. Shout out to Kinsey. Um,
Yeah.
she invited me to a church back at my old school, old college, and I kind of started going. And I kind of just started feeling like I feel like I need to be here, and I just went over and over, and then I was like, and I just started getting more and more hungry because there was just so much information that I wanted to learn and know, and then I started doing a whole bunch of history diving and etc. And it just became a whole rabbit hole of just me being hungry and wanting to learn more about God and who He was, and then finding out Jesus' history, finding out Jesus' lineage, and all these things. It just became really, really, really addicting, and just to learn about the Lord and understand who He was and how, and just taught me how the world works. It taught me how emotions work. It taught me all of these things, and I was just like, there's something here, and it just wanted me to go all in, and I was just like, you know what, I'm going all in, and then. I didn't really expect to talk about God or whatever publicly or be on a podcast or anything like that. But then I was just like, I feel like God wants to do something more, because the job I had, I just wasn't getting satisfied by it. And I didn't want to go just find another job and be like, this is going to be satisfying. I knew that I felt like God wanted me to do something more. And I was just like, I want to do something for God. I want to do something for Him. And then AWG was born. And then we just started doing everything that we do now. And yeah.
Yeah.
How about you?
Honestly, it started kind of the same way as you. When I was on my spiritual side, where I was conspiracy theories and government and all this extra stuff, aliens, and I always been a very curious person. But I don't like authority. I don't like people telling me what to do. So every time I heard Jesus or God, I heard you can't do this, and this, and I was like, why do I want to do it? And I started asking questions. I went through the whole phase of spirituality, and I started asking this guy questions about God because he always used to be like, "Hey, Jesus, man." I used to be like,
Hey, Jesus,
"Why
man.
you keep talking about Jesus? Like, I don't. What are you even talking about?" So I used to ask him questions, and me and him used to come up. Well, we didn't come up with the joke, but we don't. We how do I say it so I can cancel? We have a certain opinion on atheists where we don't really understand their worldview because we believe that the world is too perfect for it to not be created.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
even though I wasn't a believer, no. Even though I wasn't a believer, me and him still were like, the world is too perfect for it to not be created. Humans repopulate, fish repopulate, some things don't repopulate. The world heals itself. Everything is perfect, and if humans weren't there, the world would be perfectly fine. So that's kind of that's kind of when I came to Christ. But when I fully was like, I'm giving my life to God is when me and Freddi started actually, having more conversations about God. He was actually going to college at the time. He would come back for like little breaks and stuff like that. And on those breaks, me and him went to the downtown Fort Worth church called Paradox. And that's how we kind of started going like a little bit. Now that church wasn't very active, not active as
It wasn't active in the young adult.
Yeah, it wasn't active in the young adult scene. So I kind of just went to go and get the word and leave. But when we moved down here to San Marcos, that's kind of when I was like, all right, I'm going all out. I don't want to act like
I don't want to be half foot in.
Yeah, I don't want to be half foot in, say I'm going to church and doing all these things, but then on my life, I'm still doing the things that I do. I never really went to parties, never really went to bars. I started going occasionally, but Lord kept showing me that I shouldn't be there. So I just started going to church. And when we started going to church, it kind of started revealing all the answers.
You
to that.
really, yeah. And then, like, going to our young adults, it just really realized how fun it really was.
No, facts.
just
Like,
to be-
Christianity is fun. Like,
like,
you
it-
can have fun with your friends and
It
hang
was-
out and do
yeah,
stuff.
we really fun. Played volleyball and etc. And
would
the
go to, like,
conversations that we have. like,
Bowling and take over the
bowling.
aux and play Christian music
Yeah,
or
like,
Christian rap music.
I don't know. It was just I don't know. It wasn't just fun.
It felt more fulfilling. Like,
yeah,
we had
it-
something to actually provide or something to work towards.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. It was really good. But well,
Yeah.
we wanted to give y'all a little reaction video.
Thank y'all for watching. Enjoy,
Thank y'all for watching.
comment.
Enjoy, comment, see what you want us to react to next.
If you
what want
made
us
it to
do.
the end of this video, comment Jesus is Lord.
Yes, and just a quick little heads up, we're trying to get a Jeopardy video going. So
We're still doing that?
yes, we're still doing that. We're trying to get a Jeopardy video going.
There's going to be a normal Jeopardy.
Normal Jeopardy video. It's gonna have some Christian comment in there, but it's also gonna have some of us. It's gonna have some of our youth in there, whatever, some of the hip stuff. And then we've got some more content coming, and we hope you guys enjoyed this video. So make sure to leave a like and subscribe.
Say bye, Milo. Say bye. He's just big old.
The blood, now his life is looking up. Quasar on the moon, letting NASA know what's up. Living for the Lord right now, I lift it up.